Hi, I'm Glen Darcey. I'm product manager for Arturia. I'm here with synth guru Yves, the main designer behind the MicroBrute synthesizer. And today we're going to be talking about our new MicroBrute synthesizer. So, first things that we should probably point out is that it's a full analog synthesizer, 100% analog audio path in it. We've retained the same Steiner-Parker filter that we've had before. We've enhanced the oscillator designs. You've got a full sequencer, envelope generator, multifunction LFO, and our newest little feature is the modulation matrix patch bay that's on here.
Okay, hello Glen. I'm happy to host you in my studio in Grenoble.
It's an honor. A great honor.
I'm glad to speak about this little brother of the MicroBrute. So the idea was to make a smaller synthesizer, but which retain as much possibilities as possible with regard to the MicroBrute, and introducing some nice new features.
The main thing though is that we also didn't want to sacrifice build quality. So we've got a metal bottom chassis. It's still got some nice heft to it, some good weight. Some people will notice that it's not battery powered. That's going to be the first question a lot of people have, but the reason for that is because we've got plus and minus 12 volt audio rails to keep the sound quality.
It's because it's analog.
Yeah. So this, while it's small and the sound is still huge, and it sounds amazing. So we'll go through some of the functionality of the oscillators. First you have your standard sawtooth, square wave, triangle, and you can mix the levels. There's synths that are $1,000 out there where you only have an on-off switch for it. Okay, one thing with the oscillators is that they'll stay clean up until about this point, and then they'll overdrive in the last little section. And you can hear that when we... So you can hear the overdrive on the back end. Not so much with the square. But you can hear the low end come in when it overdrives.
It starts rounding the triangle.
Starts right on the triangle. But one of the most interesting things is probably the new overtone functionality.
The overtone is in fact mixed with what was the sub-octave oscillator, the sub-oscillator of the MicroBrute. So here you have the volume that controls the amount of sub-octave. So here it's a square sub-octave, but the engineer introduced a new feature that is when you crank up this knob here, you change the pulse width ratio of that curve, and with this simple control, a way to go from the sub-octave to the fifths above the tone. So it makes a big improvement because when you have only one oscillator, if you can add the fifth, the perfect fifth, it gives rise to nice possibilities in terms of harmonic.
Yeah, it gives you a two oscillator sound effectively using one oscillator. And a huge sound. This control here can also be modulated via the CV gate inputs. If you have a MicroBrute, you could be using this as a secondary or a third LFO on a MicroBrute, and a third envelope on a MicroBrute, you can use the MicroBrute and modulate things within here. So for MicroBrute owners, this makes a great expansion. One thing that we have on the back panel is we've got an external audio input as well, with an audio input trim level, and you can push that, adjust your input level. We've got a line in and a headphone, or a line out and a headphone out. We've got the USB and the MIDI in, so it can be used as a module. And then over here, we have our fine tune. You know, the thing that always amazes me with the audio input and output, I have a small modular at home, nothing like this, but if I wanted to buy just a Steiner Parker filter, you'd spend more money than you spend on this whole synth. So you can actually patch into it and just use it as an audio processor, but you could process vocals or guitar or whatever through the input. Yeah, other synths, drum machines. Just monstrous. Kick in a little brute factor, which will enhance some of the low end.
Okay, and also you can play with the modes. This is the bandpass mode, and we can switch now to the high pass mode to filter out the fundamental and keep only the harmonics.
Very cool. So yeah, we have the full Steiner Parker, we've got the full analog oscillator that we've had. We've gone to a single envelope, and the envelope has two modes for the VCA. You can go to the envelope or to a gate mode, similar, kind of paying homage to a SH-101. The LFO can be synchronized via MIDI clock or via USB, or it can be free running. When you put it in sync, it can sync with the sequencer, and we'll talk more about the sequencer in a little bit. But you've got three different waveforms. You've got a square, ramp, and a triangle wave. Then we've got glide and the ability to send the mod wheel to either LFO or mount, or to cut off. For me, one of the most fun aspects of this, though, is the sequencer that we've put on here.
Yes, I had the machine for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and I had a lot of fun with the sequencer. That's really a great addition to this synth.
Yeah, you have 8 sequences. Each one can be 64 steps. You've got rate controls and tap tempos. One thing you'll be able to do within the sequencer is take your sequences, bring them into your computer, and you can export them as MIDI files, or you can just save the files and be able to send them back. So you know, you're not just stuck with the 8, but you can also take those 8 and use them within, you know, Logic or Ableton Live or whatever else, just as MIDI files.
This is a small machine, so if we want to have a lot of possibilities, it's important to have access to the different controls, and the addition of this small matrix is really great, because you can nearly plug everything with everything in that. And I must add that on the back of the panel you also have three inputs and outputs. The keyboard output, the pitch out, so you can control a modular system or connect it with a mini-brute or another MicroBrute, whatever you want. A gate out, obviously, to do the same thing, and a gate in to trigger the MicroBrute. So basically on this patch panel we have two outputs that are available. The CV out from the envelope here, so you can use the ADSR to control any of the other part of the synth. And the second out is the LFO output. And using those nice orange, what would you call it that? Yeah. Orange patch cords, you can plug the output of the envelope or the LFO to another input, and that's it.
Yeah, nice and simple. What it also gives us that we don't even have on the mini-brute is the ability to control pitch from the envelope. So it's kind of nice if you're making like kick drum sounds or something, or just okay. 70s disco sounds if you want.
And since I have it for now 3 or 4 weeks, I already act.
Oh, you've already made an expander.
The chord, because I wanted to have the modulation going to two different modules, so nice. I just made a small DIY chord, and that does it as well.
There's also a company, I think they're in the US, that makes stackable connectors, which are nice. You plug one in, plug in another, and then they just stack up. So and you can drive how many sources do you think you could drive on that?
With I use a technical word. The impedance was calculated, so you can have 3 different destinations without any effect on the level. Right. But I think you can go to 5 or 6 control inputs. Yeah,
on my modular at home I was able to drive 4 pretty accurately without any voltage drop. So we're going to continue to trade beard growth secrets.
Yes, and pipe information.
Yeah, pipe information, yes.
Okay. And,
but hey, thanks a lot for having us here, and hey, this is a lot of fun. Okay. Now you're going to be sending this to my house, right?
No way.
Oh well.